What's up, guys? Today's topic is going to be Pokemon teams. Pokemon teams have always been a part of the Pokemon formula and even set the tone of the game to a degree. Beyond beating the gyms and making your way to the champion spot, you're also shutting down these, criminal organizations and thwarting their plans along the way. At least it used to be. In recent generations, the evil teams feel like they were kind of just shoved into the game to like check off the box of, oh yeah, we are making a Pokemon game. An evil team would work here, of what needs to be in the game. They tried to rectify that a little bit with Scarlet and Violet to what I would say was not much success, but they have at least been aware of the problem and tried to remedy that a bit. Now let's talk about the past teams. Compared to the past teams, there's a clear disparity in the relevance in the games. It kind of started in Sun and Moon, where Team Skull is there, but they're never really the main antagonist. They are a threat and in the game enough to be remembered and even appreciated, but just kind of take a overall step back from where evil teams were in previous games. I didn't mind it too much. Like I said, I feel like the execution was for what they were going for. But you do start to at least notice that there isn't as much emphasis on the evil team. And then they decided to just take a complete nosedive in the next game with Team Yell. This is the literal epitome of feeling like a box is being checked. It really feels like they made the whole game. And then someone was like, wait, we didn't add an evil team. And then everyone was like, oh, you're right, we didn't do that. And so they generically shoved them into the game in a way that they have pretty much zero relevance to the overall story or playing experience. They are just a cheerleader for your rival. That's literally pretty much it, is that they're super fans of your rival and will show up to like cheer them on and kind of mess with you a little bit in hopes of helping them, but nothing like even close to previous games as far as importance. And if they weren't in the game at all, you probably wouldn't even really notice, to be honest. Honestly, I would probably be a little bit like, oh, that was a great addition to remove them. But yeah, that is very bad. Now let's talk about Team Star. Team Star's a joke. I'll just say that off the rip. This is where I've really started to lose faith in the Game Freak, Pokemon Company, whoever. It felt like they were trying to respond to complaints that the teams were kind of being put on the back burner and no longer being made relevant, which really was a very glaring thing in not Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield with Team Yell. But at least like Team Yell was relegated to the background. Like they didn't put too much effort into that team clearly, but they also didn't have a very important role in the overall story. So it didn't really matter. But now they're like, oh, here's them. That's a third of the game now is beating Team Star, and their entire concept like behind them is just kind of stupid. And it's a major story point now. So like, it's a glaringly bad like story arc. I get it's a Pokemon game and the stories have never been like crazy or anything, but there's usually something decent to like cool that you could like work with. Their goal was like usually like a kind of a twisted thing where yeah, the execution of their goals was always horrible, taking over, stealing Pokemon, whatnot. But then they'd have some sort of monologue at the end, and you would kind of be on their side. Not cool with the what they're doing, but they'll be like, oh, people are hurting Pokemon, or they battle their Pokemon, which hurt. And so you're like, okay, I can kind of understand that. And so that kind of stuff isn't super crazy. Like, I mean, it really didn't have to be anything crazy, but you can literally boil Team Star down to like an anti-bullying campaign that no one wanted. And I mean, it's like when you go to those like assemblies at school and they're like, okay, we got some people to talk to. And it's some dude doing like BMX tricks. And then you're like, okay, what's going on with this guy? And then afterwards, it gives you a speech on why bullying is not cool. And guess what? No one stopped bullying anybody because of this game. Yeah, I don't know if that was the goal, but like I don't know what else they could have been thinking with Team Star to give them such a prominent role in the game and have their overall story and everything about them just kind of be a snooze fest. It just wasn't interesting. Not many parts of this game were too hot, in my opinion, anyway. So being able to stand out story-wise was like the least that they could have done. And to me, they failed on that aspect too. Now let's get to where we are now and what they could do now that would remedy their current situation. And I really don't know. I don't think there's a set answer on what they need to do. They could go all reliable as far as like, all right, they're trying to take over the world. They have their reasons, which are, somewhat rooted in a justifiable reason, but they end up getting twisted along the way and, becoming evil and doing evil shenanigans. That would be fine just to kind of get us back to like a fucking equilibrium a little bit. But I do understand that it was getting a little bit old and generic. There's a reason they strayed away from that when they did. People wanted something new. They wanted something different. The gym leader formula and the evil team formula, we'd had that so many times in a row, 6 games in a row. And there's only so much you can do surrounding that type of formula and make it still feel fresh every time. So I don't want to say that they have to do that even. They can do something different. Just don't do what you did with Team Yell or Team Star, because that was ass. That was horrible. I really feel like the older teams and the motivations and like the little story that we did get from them was pretty cool. Like the Team Galactic, Team Rocket, Magma and Aqua, like these teams did have like decent stories. So it's whatever they do, it doesn't have to be crazy or a repeat. It just needs to be interesting enough, their motivations. I didn't feel like the bullying motivation was interesting whatsoever. I didn't care. I mean, I'm not in school anymore, but I don't think people who are in school would have cared. But just doing something that actually feels like it had effort put into it is all that they really need to do. Not against the different stories. So if they want to change it up, experiment a little bit, that'd be more than okay. Honestly, I'd almost encourage it. Like, as long as it was coming from a very, very genuine place of like, okay, I think we can perform upon this like way better than we did in last games. Like, make it really stand out. Because even I get these are kids games, but like they deserve somewhat of a decent story. I mean, just being relegated to like, oh, it's a kids game, you can just poop out whatever. I mean, you can, especially with Pokemon. If it's got that title, it's going to sell. But I do think that this is something that could vastly improve the playing experience that people have really started to sour on over the last few titles.